According to the World Bank, more than half the world's population lives in urban areas, and that percentage is only rising. Cities could play a key part in our vital transition to a low-carbon energy system in upcoming years. New innovations are leading the way for private and public investment in greener cities. The key to a successful redesigning of our major cities will be to prioritize social equity alongside sustainability, and thus to create cities that work for us, not against us. A few major concepts, incorporating green spaces, implementing green transportation, and constructing green buildings, among others, are guiding forward-thinking city planners in achieving this goal.
Green spaces are important because they provide pockets of nature within crowded cities where residents can feel more connected to the natural environment. Having access to green space in the city promotes physical activity, psychological well-being, as well as the general public health of residents. However, studies reveal that racial and ethnic minorities and low-income people have less access to green space, parks, or recreational programs that affluent white communities have. This is a result of the legacy of riddling and inequitable park programming, factors which contribute to the perception of outdoor space being unsafe or unwelcoming for people of color. In addition to the unequal access to green space, a common consequence of urbanization is gentrification. Gentrification tends to target more impoverished neighborhoods by replacing older neighborhoods with green spaces and naturalizing the disappearance of working-class communities. This leads to the green space paradox, where increasing access could come at the cost of gentrification and thus displacement of low-income communities. Given that residents of different neighborhoods are impacted in different ways, blanket solutions won't work. We cannot afford to view economic development, environmental protection, and health promotion as separate areas. Addressing these inequalities require integrative policies to protect and sustain communities.
Influenced by IGI Global, the definition of green transportation is modes of transportation that produce either none or minimal means of pollution by relying on clean energy rather than fossil fuels. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, transportation, being the highest source of pollution, accounts for about 29% of the pollution in the U.S. Therefore, the duty of implementing green transportation is very crucial to addressing environmental issues. However, will or is initiatives that are taken by higher enforcement adequately and equally address green transportation pursuit in low-income communities? The Federal Transit Administration states that providing adequate transit services to the disadvantaged population in most U.S. urban areas have been hindered by land use pattern and community design that are not supportive of public transit development. Urban sprawl spreads low-density development over large geographic areas. Through government policies in urban development, equal access for new green transportation initiatives should be given to low-income communities.
What are green buildings? Green buildings are environmentally responsible and economically sufficient throughout their life cycle. Characteristics of green buildings include daylight control lighting systems, rainwater harvesting systems, use of rooftop gardens, and occupancy sensors. All characteristics of green buildings are designed to maximize energy use from the natural environment and reduce unnecessary energy loss. Green buildings lead to health, economic, social, and environmental benefits. They reduce money spent on energy and maintenance, create green jobs, improve air quality, and reduce pollution. However, the initial startup cost of green buildings can deter businesses from investing in them, even though they are cost efficient in the long run. Developments like green buildings are also less accessible in low-income areas, and construction of green buildings may not be suitable for all locations, considering the building relies on its surroundings for its energy. Nearly one-third of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States come from energy requirements of buildings. Even though there are problems to be overcome with green buildings, they are essential in reducing pollution and carbon emissions in urban areas.
These are just a few of the potential avenues urban developers can take to decarbonize urban spaces. Whatever solutions we adopt, it's essential that we include considerations of equity and accessibility in our planning process. Together, we can make cities not just a cleaner space in the world, but an inclusive place to thrive.